7 years of policies, practice, and experimentation. 7 years of European degree, flexible learning pathways, 7 years of African partnership, 7 years of being and working together, 7 years of academic diplomacy and academic Europeanization. 7, it's a symbolic number, rich in significances, even if the world was created in 7 days, and CIVIS has been built over 7 years. And perhaps it may also inspire our vision for the next 7 years, or even to farther, despite that the future after 7 years means transformation, flexibility, European degree, new teaching and learning arrangements, mobilizing research and impact for society, and within society for CIVIS and Europeanization. Distinguished guests, dear friends, welcome to the celebration of CIVIS' 7th anniversary. As I previously stated, 7 years of vision, collaboration, and a vibrant reality that continues to shape our future. Welcome to the CIVIS Days 2026 in Bucharest. If CIVIS Days 2025 in Rome was about common understanding, inclusion, and transclusivity, do you remember what we have proposed for the Community European One on reflection on possible transclusivity as a new concept on the policies of the European dimensions? CIVIS Days 2026 is about togetherness, about diplomacy and Europeanization. Probably the most significant messages that CIVIS can share and communicate to the global academic community. My name is Romiță, Iucu. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees at the University of Bucharest, and today I have a rather different responsibility from those you have come to expect from me. I have the privilege of serving as the host, moderator, amphitryon of the opening session of our event here on the stage of Romania's most renowned cultural institution, the Romanian Ateneu. Together with my colleague from CIVIS, UB, a truly wonderful team, which has worked day and night with extraordinary dedication and the generosity that understands a simple belief, truly great endeavors and achievements do not seek gratitude. They seek only to be recognized for the impact they have created. And of course, but sometimes we share the sense of humanity calls for more than a touch of principles. It's called for a simple gesture of appreciation. And so, before we continue, I would like to ask you to join me in the round of applause for the UB CIVIS team. In a return for your generous applause, we would like to welcome you once again, and I hope that you have already received the latest edition of the CIVIS newsletter. I'm sure that you have in your hands, which is fantastic, as a certainty, along with a few other surprises that may still be awaiting to be discovered as possible, desirable uncertainties in a cultural, artistic, or musical sense. You will see a little bit later what I'm just going to talk about. As every occasion of this kind deserves a proper host, please allow me to give credit where credit is due and invite the person whose vision and support have been instrumental to this journey. The Rector of the University of Bucharest, a respected sociologist, an accomplished leader, a distinguished Romanian intellectual, always with modesty and deep respect for the community, but above all, a great supporter of CIVIS. Mr. Rector, Magnificus, votre excellence, the floor is yours.
Distinguished guests, esteemed and dear fellow rectors, vice rectors, deans, professors, and staff members, dear colleagues and friends, dear students. As rector of the University of Bucharest, proud member of CIVIS Alliance, it is my great pleasure, honor, and privilege to welcome you all to Bucharest for the 2026 CIVIS Days. I am delighted to open this gathering of hundreds of representatives of the 11 member universities of the CIVIS Alliance and of the 6 African partners, our common and strong academic network that since 2019 has become, for each of us and for all of us together, the main component of our European identity. As I have mentioned on many occasions, for the University of Bucharest, being member of CIVIS is the functional equivalent of Romania being member of the European Union. CIVIS has become part and parcel of our academic life, of our teaching, research, and civic engagement programs, of our culture and identity. We, alongside the entire CIVIS Alliance, take pride in being a European university with a strong international and global identity, welcoming all the international students from around the world who enrich our European Alliance with more diversity and with a global perspective. In these times when, across the world, democracy and human dignity are challenged by authoritarianism, extremism, and populism, we, the 11 member universities of CIVIS, the European Civic University Alliance, remain determined to uphold the ideals of the European project: democracy, human rights, liberty, and solidarity. We view it as both our mission and our responsibility to keep these values alive, to defend them and to promote them globally together with our African and our other international partner universities. In this era of rapid globalization of problems and conflicts, it is our responsibility as an academic institution to provide a space for rigorous debate, forward-looking inquiry, and trans and interdisciplinary dialogue aimed at better understanding all global challenges and shaping alternative solutions into adequate responses of our democratic countries and alliances to the permanent assault coming from the authoritarian, autocratic, anti-democratic regimes. This annual event, which brings together all stakeholders of CIVIS, the top decision bodies of the Alliance, European and local governance representatives, professors, students, researchers, local partners from the industries and civic institutions, offers an excellent opportunity to evaluate the current stage of our project and to provide feedback and solutions for future improvements. Looking ahead, we plan to deepen our involvement with CIVIS, broaden our efforts to adapt to the AI developments and challenges and to the labor market transformation, to pursue research and address key societal challenges. We also aim to strengthen our civic role by encouraging inclusivity, sustainability, and an active participation in shaping a brighter future for our countries and for Europe. Last but not least, I would like to congratulate my colleagues from the University of Bucharest in charge with CIVIS activities in general and with organizing this event. Thank you, dear colleagues, for your considerable effort and for a good start. Allow me to extend my gratitude to the representatives of the European Union, of the Romanian presidency, of the Romanian government, to ambassadors, to representatives of other European alliances, to former rectors of the university, former Minister of Education present here, and to all you here today for your dedication to CIVIS and to the project of the European alliances, to cooperation, cultural understanding, and academic excellence. Finally, I would like to once more express my deepest gratitude to all CIVIS Alliance members, to all contributors to this great project, and drawing inspiration from the words of Jean Monnet, who said, Europe will not be made all at once or according to a single plan. It will be built through concrete achievements which first create a de facto solidarity. I would like to emphasize that CIVIS has been for the last 7 years an institution, a space where there is a genuine de facto solidarity that I hope will be maintained and strengthened in the future. I wish you all a productive, inspiring, and impactful event and a pleasant stay in Bucharest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rector. Always, the Rector of the University of Bucharest is very important, past and present, have all played an important role in shaping and advocating the CIVIS project and for the CIVIS project. I say this also because in a historical and also in a symbolic sense, the final details leading to the signing the final agreement in CIVIS, established 7 years ago, were completed here in Bucharest, and that's very important to recognize the role of the personalities who have coordinated, leaded this process. We have the pleasure here to just to have a round of applause for the former rector Mînzatu. At the time, he was coordinating and also Professor Mînzatu. We are very proud and deeply grateful to a team of rectors from the past, from the present, and that's very important to see what will be in the next future. And which is also important to underline, the next meeting of the Board of Rectors, which will take place on Friday, will be, dear Mircea and Ioan, in the same room where we have signed 7 years ago the agreement of CIVIS, which is fantastic, as a continuity and, why not, a historicity. Thank you for your applause and for your generosity in appreciating what University of Bucharest has done for this process. But let's continue to welcoming the people who are just surrounding us in this very special moment. Just as political vision that designed the foundation for the European University Alliances was championed and supported by a president for whom we hold the highest regard, the French President Emmanuel Macron. In the same presidential spirit, here in Romania, we are grateful for the support of the President of Romania, His Excellency Iucu, who is represented among us today through the voice of someone very dear to CIVIS community, someone who many of you met in the different positions, Presidential Advisor Sorin Costreie. And just let me to note for our guests from abroad that Sorin these days is proposed to have a position of the Minister of Education and the Deputy Prime Minister, and we are very proud of this one in the new government formula. Sorin is also the President of UNICA, which is so important for us, but above all, an extraordinary colleague, a critical thinker. He's working on the critical thinking area and the true driving force behind the CIVIS project. Mr. Advisor, Presidential One, dear Sorin. Thank you.
Thank you, dear friend. Thank you, dear friends. And welcome to Bucharest. Now I'm going not to read, but I have here some ideas I'm going to mention, because it's a moment of reflection, it's a moment of joy, it's a moment of CIVIS. The message of the President of Romania, who, by the way, he did a PhD in France, and it's prestigious mathematicians, but like me now, he's very involved in the administration, more than me is involved in administration, because he's administrating the country. In my case, yes, I'm trying to do the best whenever I can. And from the President, my message is clear. We have a strong commitment for the endorsement of the European construction. We value European values and European Union. We value education and research as engines for the future. We value alliances of universities as fundamental transnational pillars for tomorrow. And here I would like to to our rectors, because it's very important to be supported, you know, from the top. Everything happens at the grassroots, but the sun should shine. And we had this luck, we have this continuity, and that happens also in other universities of Romania, and out of 46 which are eligible, 26 of Romanian universities are part of European alliances. That's more than 50%. And that shows a very strong Romanian commitment for this. And I think that's very important. And we are here in Ateneum, and for us, that's a symbol of unity, unity in education, culture, and research. So, dear Rector, dear Rector, dear Vice Rectors, dear Deans, I saw a lot of them, dear Vice Deans, dear Director of Departments, dear students, and now I'm going to dear future Rectors, dear future Vice Rectors, and I will stop here, you got the idea. Let's reflect a little bit of what we are. You know, I'm a philosopher, and we have these questions. What are we? What are we doing? And in this case, what are universities? And universities are created by Europe, because Europe created universities. Of course, we have similar forms in China, in Morocco, but they are different in some respects from what we have for the first time in Bologna and Oxford and Paris and all the others. So Europe created the universities, and I think Europe is shaped by its universities. But come back, what's a university? I think it's an atom of universality, of universal knowledge. But what's an alliance? Well, in this case, an alliance, it's a molecule of such atoms. And atoms are vital, but life, and we have distinguished biologists among us, life is endorsed by certain molecules. So we need atoms in order to construct these molecules, and now we have the molecules, and I think we should value them. And in this respect, alliances are strategic pillars of tomorrow, because they are the future molecules which will strengthen the foundation of Europe. And as my rector said, we are living in dangerous waters. We are living, you know, among populism, extremism, nationalism, and so on. And our role as universities is to fight with that. We have a war of our borders. And without being pathetic, you know, let me remind you, because the echoes of it are different in Madrid or Paris or Stockholm. We are hearing now, like almost each day, that a drone hit the Romanian territory. In the last period, it was like that. So we have to fight. We have to fight, and to conserve this normality, we have to fight for it. And we are in a war. We are in a war trying to conquer our minds and our hearts. And that's a war, asymmetric war, I might say, we are fighting for. And in this war, the universities have a crucial role to educate our students, as I said, our future rectors, vice rectors, deans, vice deans, but also they will be our future, you know, representatives of what we are today. But the seeds of tomorrow are here. I would like also to salute the authorities, the European authorities, and the authorities from the Romanian government and other entities. They are here in our Ateneum. And also I would like to salute the esteemed and dear ambassadors we have. I met some of them, and please take the opportunity, each of you, to meet your ambassador, or at least a representative from your embassy. I'm going to close reminding you, because what we can seed are ideas and concepts and values, and I don't know if you know Leibniz's idea about Einheit in der Vielheit. That's unity in diversity. I'm not going to tell you more about monadology, but to remind you that this idea is the foundation of the European Union, because that's the foundational concept, unity in diversity. And what does it mean? Simply two things. To accept the other, and the other means, or may mean, other color, other languages, other practices, other mentalities, so on and so forth. And to be united by our trust in freedom, in law and truth. And this, I think, is the most important thing we should transmit to our students and further to our communities and societies. And that's the spirit that should inspire CIVIS as well. And CIVIS should be designated such in a way in order to preserve and protect these values, but also to protect its history and accomplishments. And as Romiță have said, we already have 7 years of existence. And now we are closing this first circle, because we had the first reunion of our universities after our first project was approved by Commission here in Bucharest. And we are very proud of that and very pleased to have you back here. But I would like to ask you, who was involved in CIVIS 8 years ago? So who was involved in CIVIS before CIVIS? So, as you can see, CIVIS is something for us, for people, for humans, but is beyond humans. Very few of us are still here. But what is important is the spirit of CIVIS, and this is what we should preserve. We are about to finish CIVIS 2, and that's a project, and to move to CIVIS 2+.1, which is the bridge between CIVIS 2 and CIVIS 3. I already confused you, some of you, right? This CIVIS 1, CIVIS 2, CIVIS 3, CIVIS whatever, they are projects, and they are projects of the Alliance CIVIS. The most important things are not the projects, they are crucial, but the most important thing is our alliance, and our alliance should be kept strong and alive. And thanks to some of us, it's there. And thank you for all of you and each of you who are paying the contribution and who are maintaining this spirit. It's crucial. And my last ideas would be that we should protect CIVIS and we should protect Europe. And I'm going to end with an African phrase. I'm pretty sure that some of you know it, but I think that's crucial also for our spirit. If you want to go quick, go alone. If you want to go safe, go together. Thank you very much. Enjoy Bucharest and enjoy Romania.
Sorin, I'm wondering myself if your speech was more or less a presidential one or a very civisness one. Was a ministerial of everything in our cover. It was about civisness. Definitely, Sorin. Give another round of applause for Sorin. Thank you. Mentioning previously the French President, Emmanuel Macron, we are also honored today by the presence of His Excellency Nicolas Van der Ried, the Ambassador of France, Romania, whom we warmly thank for joining us with this occasion. Votre Excellence, nous vous souhaitons la bienvenue et nous vous remercions pour votre présence avec nous. We have other ambassadors, and I'm just making my role a little bit later, of course. How could I avoid? As you already know, Romania is privileged to have at the highest level of representation within the European Commission, the Executive Vice President for Skills, Education, Quality, Jobs and Social Rights, Roxana Mînzatu. Unfortunately, as we all know, at the same time was our meeting, a very important reunion of rectors from the European University Alliances has begun in Brussels. The Vice President has remained there for this important occasion. But nevertheless, given the significance of CIVIS and its impact to the European level, as previously Sorin was mentioned, she was very kind and therefore recorded a short address, for which we are sincerely grateful. I would now like to invite you just to listen the recording if the process technically will be launched.
Domnule președinte, domnule rector, ladies and gentlemen, a warm hello from the European Commission here in Brussels. It is a special honor to address you today, not only because of the importance of this gathering, but also because the University of Bucharest is my alma mater. This institution shaped the way I think and the way I engage with the world, just as CIVIS continues to shape new generations of students and researchers today. So I speak to you both from my professional experience and from personal conviction. We live in a world that is marked by geopolitical tensions, by very rapid technological change, by growing distrust in science, in institutions, and universities are on the front line of all of these changes. I am convinced that one of our strongest lines of defense is academic excellence and academic freedom. So universities must remain places where students and researchers can connect, can reflect, can question and debate freely. These so-called soft skills are in fact the hard foundations of an open and democratic society. And the more we connect universities across borders, bringing together different languages, different subjects, different perspectives, the stronger those foundations become. That is why the European Universities Alliances matter so much. In just a few years, they have grown from a small group of pioneering universities into a network that now reaches a very large share of students across Europe. I want to scale this up so that it reaches more universities, more disciplines, and most importantly, more students in Europe. And today I am in Brussels precisely to discuss the future of these alliances with rectors from all over Europe, including CIVIS. The message is simple. Support follows impact. The more clearly we show what these alliances deliver, the stronger the case is for their future. CIVIS Days are a chance to do exactly that. My request to you is quite simple, that you keep pushing, that you keep connecting, and that you keep asking the most difficult of questions. Because Europe, dear colleagues, needs you. Many thanks, and I hope you have a wonderful time in Bucharest.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud also for the high quality of our technical team. The message has been received 15 minutes ago. That was fantastic to arrange everything, and then it's running, and we have been in contact with our Vice President. At this point, would like also to acknowledge and extend our sincere thanks to a very special members of the Vice President Mînzatu's cabinet. We would like to mention here the head of the cabinet, Alina Ujupan, and also Mr. Cătălin Gheran. Thank you very much, dear Cătălin. We send our warmest thanks for here, Brussels. You did a great job for us. And now this is not for the diplomats, because I'm just crossing the red line, and I'm just looking to another way of making a little bit diplomacy, not following the order of precedence, but in a way the geographical order, and we keep and remain in Brussels, located, dear colleagues. We have received in news a very fantastic information yesterday that a very important person who's guiding what's happening in the strategical aligning the alliances as a process which is now in Brussels managed fantastic. And we have received the news that can only bring us joy and further demonstrate the high regard in which CIVIS will be in a way part of the European University alliances. And I think that the development of the European University Alliances and who oversees these matters with the utmost professionalism and dedication. Suzanne Conze, the head of the unit higher education, always whenever Suzanne is talking about alliances, the impression left is that truly outstanding, marked by vision, commitment, and a deep understanding of the transformative role of the alliances in the European context. Thank you very much for making a fantastic travel arrangements, for being with us, and we are very deeply grateful for you. Herzlich willkommen.
Good afternoon. Dear Rector, dear Presidential Advisor, Professor Iucu, Professor Costreie, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me today to this event. I'm very happy to be here, and I think I will face a lot of interesting discussions, thinking already from the start of the opening speeches. And that is seldom. In many events, we hope for after the opening speeches, but I think even here we can enjoy that very much. It also sent you warmest regards from Alina Ujupan, who wanted to come first but couldn't make it in the end. So she is also with her heart definitely here in Bucharest. As was already mentioned by many speakers before, we are living in a very difficult time, and the global landscape is shaped by all kinds of crises, by polarizations in our societies, by distrust in science. Talking about democracy today, we can't help thinking about how much that has changed in context compared to the situation we were in, let's say, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And nowadays, and it was different a couple of years ago, countries that are democracies are in minority worldwide. The majority of countries are not anymore democracies, and I think this is something really to keep in mind, because what is in danger is academic freedom, is free journalism, is the free expression of opinions and mind. And then looking at higher education, at universities, they are confronted at the moment both by a weaker democratic culture around them, by increased skepticism towards them and their value of research and science, and also by the value of academic freedom. I think all universities across the globe feel this pressure and feel that it is important to act and that they have to defend and get up for it. And they also have to defend, and that is for me personally the most shocking, the very idea of research, of evidence-based debate, of freedom and expression. I'm talking here to convince people. I do not have to convince you of the importance of academic freedom. But we all know that we need the space to debate, to discuss, to have a new hypothesis, to find out that we are maybe completely wrong, or we were right, or most of the time we are somewhere in between. This is all important. This is important for all the students studying at university, for researchers, for academics, but it's also important for our societies in total. Having universities, having higher education institutions as safe spaces to build this competence of debating, but also simply to have the space to reflect, to look at evidence. And in times when lies and fake news become so omnipresent and scientific evidence is questioned, we really need to hold this high up. And that is always when I'm thinking about it, when I'm talking about it, it's always the moment when I feel very much like quoting Hannah Arendt. And I will not do that here in precise words. I will paraphrase it a bit there, her idea, and I know she will probably hate it because her original quotation is much better. But what she's pointing out to is that the problem is not the amount of lies, the whole avalanche of fake news. They are often not even very intelligently made. They are not very convincing as such. The problem is that it more and more becomes difficult to distinguish between fake and truth. And it really puts under risk our sense of this distinguish between truth and falsehood. So universities and academic field play an enormous role to uphold and really to help us to maintain this sense and to have really this gut to understand what is evidence, what is truth, and what is false. If we are looking at then the alliances and in general university cooperation, we see that they are really a mean to increase the potential of defending our values, of defending academic freedom. They give a big safe space to researchers by connecting them, by opening them the possibility to exchange, to look from different perspectives, and to enjoy together the critical inquiry of our world. European university alliances take all this collaboration, what we had already before, 7 years before, a step further. They make them more systemic, they make them more sustainable, they make them more something like a inbuilt part of every life in a university. And I think this is the key point. They gave a new impetus to collaboration, and they really make collaboration and cross-border collaboration a key feature. The initial plan 7 years ago was to have 20 European University Alliance. Today we have 73, and in them there are 650 higher education institutions and universities involved in these 73 alliances, and half of all students in Europe study at a university which is a member of an alliance. So we are coming also to a point where simply quantity becomes quality. And we are really, and that is, if we are looking at the vision, we are really looking at a momentum where this becomes maybe something normal in 10 years' time, that your university is, of course, a partner of an alliance, that there is an inbuilt structure for cooperation. Alliances help us to build a more resilient and competitive Europe. They accelerate national and European policy reforms by facilitating them. So a key point and a key example in this is the joint European study courses and the joint European degree label, and hopefully in a couple of years' time a real joint European degree. Without the alliances, it would not have been possible to create this, to develop it, and really to test it out. Alliances and CIVIS always very much in this context boost cohesion, inclusivity, and geographical balance. They ensure that resources are shared, that access is maximized, and that also regions which are a little bit more in the outer skirts of Europe have a fair and good access to high, top quality research and exchange. CIVIS is one of the alliances which really forms this dynamic academic community, bringing together 11 leading research-intensive higher education institutions across Europe and extending to 6 partner universities in Africa. Your alliance opens a remarkable space. And you are pioneering a lot of things, piloting high-quality academic joint programs in a variety of research and study areas, which are important to us, like climate and environment, energy research, but also in the whole field of humanities. All these study courses of yours are probably perfect candidates for the label, and we hope that we will see them all in this context. I'm also very happy that CIVIS was a part of a frontrunner project to create the European label, degree label, the Smart Pilot project, which was really key to us to develop the criteria for having such a project and having such a label, and in the future having a European degree. With your work, and I very much congratulate you, and the whole Commission is very much congratulating to that, with your work and engagement, you bring together a new generation of Europeans, which have grown up and studying in the context of an alliance, working in the context of an alliance, working in the context of this really deeply enforced collaboration and work. And you show how alliance can achieve substantial results by pooling their resources, sharing infrastructure, developing joint educational offers. The European Commission is very committed to supporting you, and we are basically doing it day and night. So looking at ways we can better help alliances to flourish and to continue their work, and how we can better bring the different aspects of your different missions in universities better together in an alliance, helping you to deepen your collaboration, helping you to also reach out to a wider sector. The Rectors' meeting today, already mentioned by the Executive Vice President, is a key meeting to discuss this future and this vision for alliances in the future. And we are happy that also CIVIS is represented by one of your Rectors. The present context is in this highly strategic, because besides us needing to think about how do we want to develop alliances further, we have a debate on the budget at European level. We have a very strong debate on what this next 7 years, starting from 28, will allow us to do and to support. And therefore, looking at this long-term budget and the current debates, we all need to really put together our efforts to make sure that we have a strong Erasmus Plus program, which is the core funding program for the alliances, and that we also can achieve all the synergies we want for the alliances to work with other programs and to use other programs. We want to ensure that our universities sustain their role as democratic actors and at the same time become the engines of innovation, equip students with these double DA of values and skills for future societies. And you are in the middle of these efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Suzanne. It's fantastic to listen the people who are relevant, important access to decision-making process, and we are very, very grateful for being with us. And the European University Alliances in the second round of discussion, the table round after this plenary, will have the pleasure also to join with us, dear Suzanne. How could we achieve everything we have accomplished without the support of the Ministry of Education and of the ministers who have led it over the period in which the European University Alliances have been developed? It's a great pleasure to acknowledge that Romania has been a fortunate case at the European level, as the Ministry has provided financial support for the alliances, an effort that has contributed substantially to and long-term development. I have here the pleasure to greet also and to send a round of applause to Ligia Deca, the former Minister of Education. She was also being involved in this process and promoting this idea. Thank you very much. Today, the Ministry of Education is represented by a highly respected professional, an outstanding academic diplomat, if I may, dear Luminița, General Director for International Relations and European Affairs, Luminița Matei. The floor is yours. She is also delivering a speech on behalf of Mr. State Secretary Gigel Paraschiv. But you are our voice here now.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Council Presidential Advisor, distinguished former Ministers of Education, members of the Romanian Academy, rectors and representatives of the CIVIS academic communities, esteemed ambassadors and members of the diplomatic missions in Bucharest and representative of the European Commission, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to address today on behalf of our Secretary of State in charge with the higher education, Professor Gigel Paraschiv. The European University Alliances represent one of the European Union's most ambitious initiatives. By integrating education, research, and social engagement, they embody a new model of structured European cooperation. They create more connected academic spaces, foster mobility of talent and ideas, and help overcome fragmentation in our innovation systems. In this context, the Romanian Ministry of Education and Research is praising the members of the CIVIS alliances for their commitment to underpin a strong European identity while building bridges beyond Europe. In Romania, we consider that higher education institutions are central to preparing future generations to navigate an increasingly complex world. They are essential pillars of innovation, competitiveness, and democratic resilience, spaces where openness, academic freedom, and critical thinking must be safeguarded and strengthened. As underlined by President Mario Draghi, Europe's long-term prosperity depends on sustained investment in knowledge, skills, and innovation. Without strong universities and research systems, Europe cannot fully harness its potential for growth, innovation, and global competitiveness. Universities are also fundamental to our democratic fabric. They foster pluralism, protect freedom of expression, and cultivate critical thinking. It is therefore essential for the European Union member states and for the European Commission to work together to further strengthen the alliances through coherent policies and sustainable support. In May this year, the Education Council agreed on its position on the regulation on Erasmus for 2028-2034, marking a crucial first step towards negotiation with the European Parliament and creating the room for a strong financing for the European university alliances. In this respect, we would like to take this opportunity to praise the European Commission and Vice President Mînzatu and her team for the support for the future of the European University Alliances. As the title of conference indicates, CIVIS has proven a strong impact in its 7 years of existence. We would like to list only a few. CIVIS has shown that European cooperation can produce tangible benefits for our academic communities, students, and societies in general. Looking at the outcomes, the success of the CIVIS, in our opinion, lies in the opportunities created for young people to learn from one another and to become active citizens in an interconnected world. At the same time, CIVIS reminds us that Europe's horizons extend beyond its borders. CIVIS has demonstrated both the power of academic diplomacy and a vision of Europe that is outward-looking, engaged with its neighbors, and committed to addressing shared challenges through partnership and mutual respect. The development of innovative joint educational opportunities allows students to learn across multiple institutions and countries. The creation of interdisciplinary learning experiences addressing major societal challenges such as climate change, health, digital transformation, migration, and social inclusion is beneficial for our societies. And it has shown that when universities unite around shared values and common goals, they can become powerful agents of transformation. I would like to conclude by thanking everyone who contributes to this remarkable alliance: university leaders, academic and administrative staff, researchers, students, and partners. You are helping build not only the future of higher education, but also the future of Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Luminița. Also send our best this to Mr. Secretary of the State, Giselle Paraschiv. Everything that is taking place today within this event dedicated to diplomacy, as you have been informed, and Europeanization, would not be possible without the support of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which has provided us with invaluable assistance and which actively values and promotes the entire internationalization process for the Romanian university involved in the alliances. And that's very important here to recognize the role of the ministry, which are going to collaborate exceptionally. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is represented today by Mr. Andrei, Luca, Director for Cultural and Science Diplomacy, whom we have great pleasure to invite for giving the words.
Distinguished authorities, rectors, deans, professors, students, dear guests. Thank you very much at first for the kind invitation addressed to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to speak at the opening of this event. We are celebrating 7 years of CIVIS, a network that has grown not only in size, but in substance and in relevance. The first thing that comes to mind is that 7 years ago, universities were dealing with a very different, were operating under a very different context. And that is now, two things are now clearer from this point of view. First of all is that the new disruptive technologies will not only influence, not only greatly shape our way of life our society in economic and social and political terms, but also will have us to rethink education, the way we speak, the way we teach, and the way we learn. And this comes with another development, and that is the fact that universities can no longer act in solitude. Teaching and learning cannot be done now if they are in quality terms. It cannot be done solitarily. They need networks to share information in real time, and they need to encourage academic movement and freedom of ideas between them. And that is very relevant because this is how you build a network in the benefit of students and researchers. And this is also more relevant in the space of the European Union, which is the richest culturally that educational space that we have on Earth, and where this kind of network is naturally more viable and brings more value added. At the same time, education and universities have become important actors of societal resilience. This education has, of course, is an objective, a fundamental one, the seeding of critical thinking, which is very relevant now as we confront ourselves in Europe with the conflicted narratives and with adversities that arise from different takes on how Europe should look like. And this is why critical thinking is quintessentially fundamental now, because it allows us to ensure that we preserve the space of ideas, a space of ideas and people that is run by the values that have been foundational for this union. Globally, universities also play on a very extended pitch, where they have become strategically relevant from an international relations perspective, of course. And speaking from a Minister of Foreign Affairs, we can only applaud the fact that Europe has understood that that science and education have this strategic value to them, and they have the European Union has doted itself with the instruments necessary to deal with new realities. The new arrival European framework for science diplomacy tells us very clearly that Europe has to think both in terms of doing common good and think research and education in terms of ensuring its strategic autonomy and competitiveness. In a nutshell, future depends on not only on the excellence of education, but on how we manage to connect the dots, we connect among ourselves. And as Mr. Costreie was saying that universities have shaped Europe, I think that now they are called to shape them again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are connected right now with what's happening in Brussels. I received pictures from the reunion of rectors. There it's Olga Vessel who is sending us a very good message. Also our partner in this equation of For You For All. Most probably, certainly not least, as we have turned international distinguished personality, the last speaker. We have another message, a short one, but it will be the last speaker. We are 20 minutes in behind the schedule, and of course, I will guilty for everything which is happening in this reunion, and if the situation will be with the music, then don't blame me too much. I have a special, and we have a special guest here. Magna Carta Observatory it's the CIVIS special guest as institution, but in the same time we have a special guest in person, who is the Secretary General of Magna Carta, David John Locke, a special personality for higher education, who's having the pleasure to share with us your idea. David, please, the floor is yours.
Mr. President, distinguished guests, happy 7th birthday to CIVIS. I thank you most warmly for your kind invitation to the Magna Carta to participate in this important and timely meeting of this most impressive and impactful group of universities. Your universities are mostly signatories of the Magna Carta Universitatem. I observe with enormous pleasure that the values set out in that charter come through very strongly in the work that you do. I have the pleasure of heading the Magna Carta Observatory, a small body which oversees the Magna Carta Universitatem. It was first written in 1988, before the fall of the Berlin Wall, at a time when universities, particularly in Europe, were experiencing challenging times and were coming under pressure from their governments, who were seeking to make inroads into their autonomy and limit their academic freedom. After 32 years, that document was revised in 2020 and has now been signed by over 1,000 universities from 94 countries. The key principles in that document are as relevant today as they were in 1988. Just briefly, universities should be autonomous and intellectually and morally free from all political influence and economic power. Teaching and research should be inseparable, with students engaged in the search for knowledge and greater understanding. There should be free inquiry and debate, with openness to dialogue and rejection of intolerance. Universities should serve society and have a reliable social contract with civil society, so as to promote health, prosperity, and enlightenment around the world. Your alliance addresses the big issues facing the world in a very practical way. The climate emergency, environmental challenges, and health issues. It's a great strength of your alliance that you have members from the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere, so that you can provide a forum in which real progress is made. I like very much the way you express your work as a journey. One of the 2020 revisions in the Magna Carta was to shift from the thinking that autonomy was a state that could be attained to a realization that the pursuit of it was a journey. The Magna Carta Observatory has developed and launched the Living Values Project. There is no point in having values if they are not put into effect. Now, universities, by following this project and involving staff of all types across the university, they put themselves in the strongest position to engage effectively with society and deliver in an impactful way. We are about to launch a capacity building programme for universities that wish to engage in that programme, and I'm happy to share details with you during this event. I also very much appreciate the way in which your alliance includes activities for students. The Future Generations strand of the Magna Carta's 2530 strategy includes a number of opportunities for students. These include support for values-based leadership development for our student union officers, and an essay competition. It's the fourth time we have done it. It started small. We launched it last week, and as at yesterday, there had been 3,000 hits on the website for that from 69 different countries. Our aim in doing this is to enable student leaders and future generations of academics to be aware of the fundamental values and their importance at the start of their careers. Finally, Patrick Dean, Principal and Vice-Chancellor of Queen's University, Kingston, Ontario, Canada, who has led the Magna Carta's Governing Council for 6 years, comes to the end of his mandate in March 2027. We will shortly be inviting applications or nominations for the next president of our Governing Council. Given the excellent work done by this alliance and the way in which it has been based on the values set out in the Magna Carta, it would be pleasing to see expressions of interest from the members of this group. I look forward to spending the next 2.5 days working with you and learning more about how the Magna Carta Observatory can make a more effective contribution to your work and to that of your universities. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. It's so important for CIVIS to go further with this intention to sign the Magna Carta on behalf of One Alliance, which is truly a great endeavor for One Alliance. We should be the first one. We agreed together, dear David, during the Board of Rectors discussions. Thank you so much. Last but not least, we are just approaching the final moment. Of course, we are behind the schedule, but I need to send you a message from Olga from Brussels. Very impressive to see you together at this venue. You can count on For You For All to achieve your ambitions together. We are stronger together. This is Olga from Brussels, and I would like very much to share with you and to send that feedback. We have already shared this message, and thanks. Applauses for Olga and for Ludovic, the coordinator of the For You For project. Now a very short message on thanks and gratitude coming from the University of Aix-Marseille, from Jean-François Marquet, the Vice President for International Affairs. Very short message, please, Mr. Vice Rector, and then we are going with the history of CIVIS.
Thank you, dear Romiță. I will be brief because there's a lot of discussion and a lot of things to come. Dear rectors, dear colleagues and dear students, dear CIVIS community, and of course, dear representative of the European Commission's political authorities, education experts, and representative of the civil society. First of all, I would like to thank the University of Bucharest and its rector for the warm welcome here. More than 400 people coming from Europe and Africa will gather here in what is the largest annual event of the Alliance. CIVIS Days are always a special occasion, It's a time when the CIVIS community comes together in person, away from what we're used to, video conferences, emails, phone calls, etc., which can never replace human interaction. Is it therefore a human moment, a time of exchange? And yet it's not insular. It's not insular as CIVIS days bring together, in addition to the Alliance academic community, representative of the civil society, politician, etc. As it was reminded during the foundation of CIVIS 7 years ago, the issue of the relationship between universities and the society directly addresses the mission of academic institutions. Of course, we know the two basic missions, education and research. But there is, as you know, a third mission. Academic solitude is of no benefit, neither for the community nor for the youngest generation. The third mission concerns the diffusion of the knowledge produced by academia through the development of relations with the external world, politics, economics, civil society. It's important, fundamental to have these interactions, and especially nowadays, it was reminded a lot of time today, with the attacks on democracy and democratic values quite everywhere in Europe. These days, also, these CIVIS days extend beyond Europe, just as the Alliance itself does on a daily basis. It enables us to connect more directly with our 6 African partners, whom I would like to acknowledge in particular. I would like to acknowledge them and to thank them also for organizing the recent African-European Forum in Casablanca, which was a great success. The link with the South has always been a guiding principle for the Alliance, alongside with the civic commitment. So these CIVIS days mark 7 years of impact and joint action. We will focus on a lot of things, and we will focus, to say it briefly, on all these achievements that embody a spirit of profound civic commitment. Because as President Macron states in his letter to European citizens, titled For European Renaissance, the development of a European civic identity is a daily commitment. Over the coming days, as you know, a very packed and varied program of open and live stream session will showcase CIVIS works beyond the event itself, from joint learning pathways and the impact of mobility to research collaboration, skills development, and civic engagement. So the program is packed, of course, starting today, so speeches must therefore be very brief, dear Romiță. And I shall not take up any more of your time, but I just would like to conclude in thanking the whole team who helped to prepare these CIVIS days. Organizing is always a heavy task. It's a heavy burden for those with primary responsibility, of course, but it's a burden for everyone. Because CIVIS days, like the Alliance itself, involve everyone, so may all those who have helped to organize this event and who will continue to do so throughout the week, be thanked on behalf of all of us. Thank you.
I know. Our gratitude to the Ambassador Excellency of the Greece in Romania. Thank you very much for being with us. Anleki, European University Association, former and member of the German Council of Research. Thank you very much for being with us. Romanian Rectors Conference, Professor Costel Negricea, thank you also for much for being with us and representing the Rector's voice in Romania as well. Now the sponsors, and then it's François. And François, of course, I will do all my best to do all my diligences for you to forgive and give me a chance to a little bit be in a position of making recovery time for you. I'll do it, and I promise. Sponsorii noștri dragi, Avincis, Kaufland, Heineken, Poșta Română, vă rog să-i aplaudăm din suflet și să le mulțumim că nu am fi putut fi aici fără ei. Colaborărilor Art Safari, Village Museum Dimitrie Gusti, Natural Park of Bucharest, Stavropoulos Monastery. Thank you very much, vă mulțumim din inimă. Thank you very much.